Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to Grant County's Yellow Ribbon Proclamation event. My name is Rob Larson. I am the Grant County Veteran Service Officer, retired United States Army, Operation Iraqi Freedom Veteran, and Executive Director of the Grant County Yellow Ribbon Program. I'm honored to serve as your host today. Before we begin, I must remind you to once again, please spread out to a minimum of 6 feet apart unless they live in your house. For everyone's safety, we are asking everyone wear a face mask, a face covering. If you don't have one, we have some up at the top of the stairs. So that's our safety message. Okay, let's begin. At this time, I would like everybody to rise for the entrance of the official party. Please remain standing for the posting of the colors by the Barrett American Legion and the singing of our national anthem. Today we would like to welcome and recognize the following members of our official party. Hero and paramedic Mike Sieniowski. Hero and veteran Wes Moyer. Hero and Sheriff Mark Haber. Hero and Assistant Adjutant General of the Minnesota National Guard, Brigadier General Lowell Cruz. Hero Military Spouse and Yellow Ribbon Outreach Coordinator of the Department of Military Affairs, Rachel Johnson. Chairman of the Beyond the Yellow Ribbon of Grant County, Sue Colby. Representative Jeff Backer. Post the colors.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets went by, the bombs bursting in, they broke through the
before you take your seats, let's give our Legion members and our singer a nice round of applause. Lexi Green, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, go ahead and take your seats, please. Today is September 11th, 2020. It marks 19 years since our nation was brutally attacked. Little did we know the full impact these events would have on the lives of Americans. The attacks on September 11th, 2001 fundamentally changed our country and our lives forever. All of the adults here understand how 9/11 changed everything and everyone in some way. I'm pretty sure each of you can remember the exact minute when we heard about the planes crashing into New York City, into Washington, D.C., and later watching in horror as buildings burned, people jumped from windows, brave first responders charging into the perilous situations to help before the buildings crashed to the ground. Those pictures cannot and should not be erased from our minds. Our youngest generation, our children's lives, however, have not changed. Terrorism, war, and violence are routine for them. They have lived with these issues every day of their lives. This is their normal. It is doubtful that their history books will ever tell them the true impact that this day has had on the lives of Americans and the lives of people across the world. Today, we not only want to honor and most importantly remember those that have lost their lives as a result of the attacks that day, but also show a deep appreciation for those of us that have been impacted by these events as well. Today, we honor those heroes among us, our veterans, our military members, our law enforcement, our fire and rescue and emergency medical personnel, and their families. These are the people that have sacrificed so much in support of our country's efforts to find normal again. These are the people that give us the freedom and the safety and security for us to thrive in the freedom. How fitting that today, on September 11th, we recognize a new organization in Grant County that is dedicated to the well-being of these heroes and their families and promoting public service in our communities rather than taking it for granted. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our first speaker, paramedic and pastor Mike Sieniowski. Mike is a true hero in Grant County. He is a full-time pastor, full-time paramedic, not in one, not but two, but in three different organizations. 2 ambulance companies, and Prairie Ridge Hospital. And he's also a substitute teacher here at West Central Area Schools. As if this isn't enough, Mike also serves as a chaplain to help first responders in our area when they experience trauma in the line of duty. Please welcome Grant County hero, Mike Sieniowski. Thank you, Rob. 19 years ago, 9/11 happened, and yet for many of us it still feels like an open wound. Tuesday, September the 11th, 2001. I borrow a quote from President Franklin Delano Roosevelt as he described the attack by the Japanese Imperial Navy of our naval fleet that was stationed at Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941. He said it was a day that will live in infamy. And also, what happened to our country on 9/11 is also a day that will live in infamy. The 9/11 attacks were a series of 4 sinister, coordinated attacks perpetrated by the Islamic terrorist group Al-Qaeda against the United States on the morning of September 11, 2001. American Airlines Flight 11 and United Airlines Flight 175 were hijacked by Al-Qaeda terrorists and viciously and purposely crashed into the World Trade Center in New York City. Hijacked American Airlines Flight 77 continued the evil attacks as it crashed into the west wing of the Pentagon, which houses the Department of Defense. Also hijacked, American Airlines Flight 93's planned attack on the Capitol was thwarted by brave Americans who were on board, led by Todd Beamer's statement, "Let's roll," and they crashed into a field in Stony Creek, Pennsylvania. The 9/11 attacks were the single most deadly terrorist attacks recorded in human history. That fateful day produced 2,996 deaths, which included that of 19 Al-Qaeda terrorists. Osama bin Laden at first cowardly denied involvement and fled into hiding. He claimed responsibility in 2004. He was located in Pakistan in 2011 and was killed in a military raid. Our nation's first responders, military, fire, police, and EMS came in from various parts of the country, rushing as always into a dangerous situation to protect and to save lives. Once again, I borrowed a word from a song written by a first responder. We're not superheroes. We're just ordinary people trying to make a difference, and the first on every scene. Freedom isn't free. Let us not forget. And it's because of 9/11 and because of this flag that I'll always stand for our flag and the national anthem. I was asked to lead in prayer. This morning I was at the station in Pelican Rapids, and as I prayed and thought, let me put down some thoughts, I just felt impressed in my heart to read Psalm 91, and that's how we'll pray. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler, from the perilous pestilence. He shall cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you shall take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flies by day, nor of the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor of the destruction that lays waste at noonday. 1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near you. Only with your eyes shall you look and see the reward of the wicked. Because you have made the Lord, who is my refuge, even the Most High, your habitation, no evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near your dwelling. For He shall give His angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. They shall bear you up in their hands, lest you dash your foot against a stone. You shall tread upon the lion and the cobra, the young lion and the serpent you shall trample underfoot. Because He has set His love upon me, therefore I will deliver him. I will set him on high because he has known my name. He shall call upon me and I will answer him. I will be with him, I will deliver him and honor him. With long life I shall satisfy him and show him my salvation. So, Father, in Jesus' name, we pray once again for our nation, that you'll reach down from heaven and give us a divine visitation once again. In Jesus' name. And everybody said, County Yellow Ribbon Proclamation is in honor of and thank you to all of our American troops and our heroes in Grant County, both living and dead. Because of their sacrifice and their allegiance, we have our privilege of freedom in the United States of America. From Paul Brutwag, who's flying this plane, please offer your personal prayers for our troops and our armed forces of America and our law enforcement, fire and rescue, and emergency medical services of Grant County. Okay, let's take our seats. Thank you, Pastor Cianowski, for your tribute to those whose lives have been lost forever and changed as a result of the events of 9/11/2001, and also your prayer. Before we hear from our other guests today, I'd like to introduce some important people joining us here today. We have some mayors in attendance. Mayor of Wendell, Bob Allen. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Bob's up there in the back. Todd Lang, Mayor of Barrett. Raise your hand, Todd. Or Todd. There you are. Gotcha. Paul Kirk-Kitney, Mayor of Herman. We have 3 county commissioners here today. Dwight Walvatney, who is also a hero. He was sheriff for over 30 years in Grant County. Bill LaValle, veteran. Troy Johnson. Troy's up back in the back. Thank you for coming. I'm going to ask Yellow Ribbon Steering Committee members to please raise your hands. All right, Byron Gilbertson, Alicia, you're here, Tina, and Maya. All right, thank you for everything you've done for our committee. And most importantly, we want to recognize individuals in our audience who we consider as heroes in Grant County. If you or your family member is current or former military member, law enforcement, fire and rescue, or emergency medical services, please raise your hand. Nice. Thank you for your service, your family's sacrifice, and keeping our people free and safe. Now I'd like to recognize a couple special people. Nancy and Claremont Anderson, who are sitting on the bleachers down here on the lower left with the green mask. Very few of us understand the sacrifice like these folks. Their son Stuart Anderson, whom I personally served with, was killed in Iraq in 2006. They're both from Hoffman, and we really appreciate you coming here today. Appreciate your sacrifices. It is now my pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Wes Moyer. Mr. Wes Moyer lives in Wendell and has helped our Yellow Ribbon Committee right from the start. He is currently the Yellow Ribbon Community Champion in Wendell, so he's the go-to guy in Wendell if you have any questions about the program or have needs. Wes is a graduate of St. Olaf College and Luther Seminary with a BA, a Master of Divinity, and a Doctor of Ministry degrees. He served 21 years in the U.S. Navy and retired in the grade of commander, with 3 tours in Vietnam, including a tour as an advisor on a Vietnamese gunboat. After his retirement from the U.S. Navy, he served 19 years as a Lutheran pastor in Dalton and Elbow Lake. Please welcome Mr. Wes Moyer.
Thank you, Rob, and thank you for all attending. A few years ago, my wife Mary and I were passing through Bennington, Vermont, when we noticed a huge monument. And so we stopped to look at the monument which commemorated the Battle of Bennington in the year 1777, part of the victories of the War of Independence. And the wording on the monument in honor of a Seth Warden, who was the hero of the battle, caught my attention. Chiseled in stone are these words: "This memorial was erected to tell future ages what a hero has done." Today we honor heroes from our community who served in the armed forces, as law enforcement, as firefighters, and as emergency medical volunteers. Note the word, most are volunteers, because today, including all the armed forces, are volunteers. So it is really the few that we honor. And I was amazed to learn that only 11.2% of the nation's population served in World War II during those 4 years of the war. During the Vietnam era, only 4.3% served in the 12 years of the conflict. And since 2001, less than 0.5% of our population have served in the global war on terror. And yet consider this. According to the Department of Defense study a few years ago, 35%, or some 32 million Americans of military age, 17 to 24, are unfit for service because of physical and medical issues. Then left to the rest to defend our nation, and we know that many have died doing just that. But we who are Americans, so we can enjoy the fruits of freedom. Law enforcement, firefighters, emergency medical technicians make up only a very tiny portion of our community. And yet we depend upon them in times of trouble and of crisis. And yet for our heroes, there is a cost to their personal lives. Our heroes sometimes witness terrible things because war, accidents, fires, and things our heroes are called to deal with can leave a person with physical and psychological scars. And yet they do it for you and for me. We can ask why. And I close with the reason I think they do it. In history, some 700 years ago at a place called Bannockburn, some 40,000 Scots under their king Robert the Bruce defeated 60,000 English to win their freedom as a nation. Not to subject anybody else to something that they wanted, but to earn their own freedom. And yet it was not enough to win their freedom on the battlefield. They had to convince the world through what is known as the Declaration of Arbus. You read the Declaration of Arbus, you're amazed at how similar it is to our Declaration of Independence. Yet it precedes our Declaration of Independence by over 450 years. And in that document are these words: "For as long as 100 of us remain alive, we will never in any degree be subject to the dominion of the English, since it is not for glory, riches, or honors that we fight, but for freedom alone, which no good person surrendered but with life itself." For me, that is why I think our heroes serve. The love and dedication to the country, and even more, I think, a dedication to communities in which they live. So on this day, we thank them all from the bottom of our hearts for all that they do for each and every one of us, our heroes of Grant County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. I would now like to introduce our second speaker, Grant County Sheriff Mark Haber. Sheriff Haber began serving residents of Grant County in January 2019. He started his law enforcement career in Otter Tail County after graduating from Alexandria Technical College in 2001. His previous assignments include deputy patrol, detective, special agent with the West Central Minnesota Drug Task Force, and transport deputy. Welcome, Sheriff.
Good afternoon, everyone. Glad to be here today, share some thoughts with you about who we are, what we are, and what we try to do. Before I go any further, though, I just wanted to say a very sincere thank you to Rob and Sue, because they were definitely the ones that got this organization going, organized it, and got it going. So on behalf of the Yellow Ribbon Committee and the people of Grant County, I want to thank you guys immensely, because we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. And also, I'd also like to thank Rob and also this committee as well, because when we first developed this committee back in, oh boy, that was the early part of 2019, the Yellow Ribbon was the purpose of for veterans and those currently serving. And after several months of going into the procedure of working our way up to the Grant County Yellow Ribbon County, he came to me and he said, what do you think about including law enforcement, fire, and EMS? And I kind of had to think about it. I didn't give him an answer right away, because I was kind of like thinking, well, this is kind of for veterans and for the military. But the more you think about it, you start to realize that we're not that much different than you guys. We all been there, we all make our sacrifices, but in our own different ways. So I just want to say that I thank Rob for including us into the family of veterans, and also to be on this poster out in front. We really appreciate the recognition. In preparing to talk to you guys today, and I'll try and keep this somewhat short, I had to look up what's the definition of a hero and where do we fit into that category, because we keep being called heroes here. And so I looked it up in the dictionary. You know what a hero is? A mythical or legendary figure, often of divine descent, endowed with strength or ability. That ain't me. Maybe some of you guys can qualify for that, but it ain't me. An illustrious warrior. Wow. I don't have a suit of armor for that one either. A person who's admired for achievements and noble qualities. Yeah, some of you guys are out there who have that, without a doubt. Then, of course, those who can show great courage. And to steal a quick little line that Mike had earlier today was, ordinary people who have to come out and they actually do extraordinary things is who these heroes are. But heroes aren't necessarily first responders. They're school teachers, their mothers, their fathers, grandparents, somebody who's made a difference in your life, somebody who's been able to change your perspective of life. They are also heroes. But talking in where we are here today, we ask, how do we become these heroes? Where do they come from? And it brings me back to my first days in college, when I was the right young age of 36 years of age, which is old for that class I was in. I was squad A, and everybody else there was 18, 19, and 20 years old. And we sat around a semicircle on that first day in our public speaking class, and the question was asked, why are you getting into law enforcement? And thinking a bunch of 18 and 19-year-olds were going to come up with some really silly answers. On the contrary, the answers were, I want to protect, I want to serve, I want to help. And that's how they become the beginning of becoming what I would call a hero as well. So, and how do we get here? Well, I just want to say there's two common denominators that's becoming first responders, firemen, law enforcement. And that is, we have a love for life, we have a love for people. Make no mistake about that. We don't do this for wealth. We don't do this for being able to stand in front of a podium and talk to people today. We do it because we want to help you. We want to help people on their worst days. And it's just, to me, it's extraordinary. You look at all these fire trucks behind us, a bunch of volunteer firemen, ambulance drivers. And it really reminded me of that just a few weeks ago when we had a significant crash. And one of the volunteer fire departments come out there. And I kid you not, it is just it's a rhythm. They just do it. They just work it. There's multi-vehicles and victims. And it was just amazing to me as I sat back. And yes, I can sit back because they do their job better than I can do it by far. Because it's what they do. They train together. They work together. But the harmony that they work in is incredible for volunteer fire departments. They're better than anybody else, is all I can say. Anyway, I want to conclude my quick little talk here, and just to kind of have a quote from the Bible. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. On December 11th, 2001, 343 firefighters made that commitment to their friends. 60 police officers made that commitment to their friends. 8 EMS workers made that commitment to their friends, and they ran into that tower. And their friends were people they never met before, but it's their love for life, it's their love to save life that brought them into that tower. That whole crew of vehicles you see back there, It could be New York, it could be Wendell, it could be Elbow Lake, Hoffman, Herman, Ashby, Barrett. It doesn't matter. It's the same mentality. So with that, I thank these guys over here. They're sitting next to us, or to your left, my left, your right. And I just really want to recognize their contribution to our community. And I just also want to add, it is a privilege to be here. I know every deputy that's sitting back here, our dispatchers, it is a privilege to be here. We don't expect it. We don't expect to earn it, or I should say we try to earn the respect that we get. And we live in a great community where we do get that. I'm proud to be here in Grant County. I'm proud to be part of West Central Minnesota. I'm proud to be part of law enforcement. And we will continue to do the job that we need to do to the best of our abilities each and every single day and night. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheriff Mark. Now I'd like to welcome Brigadier General Lowell Cruz, Assistant Adjutant General of the Minnesota National Guard and Camp Ripley Senior Commander. He runs Camp Ripley. Brigadier General Lowell E. Cruz serves as the Minnesota National Guard Assistant Adjutant General to the Army and Camp Ripley Senior Commander. Prior to this assignment, he commanded the 347th Regional Support Group and served as the Deputy Chief of Staff for Logistics for the Minnesota Army National Guard. His current responsibilities include oversight of the readiness of the entire Minnesota Army National Guard units, ensuring that they're ready and able to achieve their mission. That's a very tough job. And also commander of the Camp Ripley Training Center. With that, I welcome Lowell Cruz.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you, retired Colonel Bob Larson. A good friend of mine, Rob and I spent a lot of time as young artillerymen in the Minnesota National Guard before 9/11. And it's very fitting that we're here today on the anniversary of the 9/11 attack. It fundamentally changed my life. It fundamentally changed the Minnesota National Guard. And I would tell you, it's probably the reason why Yellow Ribbon Committees exist. Okay? Because our nation needed to field an army that included the total army that included the National Guard Reserve and the active component in a fight that is the long war that we call this war that continues on terrorism. And 9/11 was really the start of that, where it really became personal for everybody. And so it's fitting that we pause today and recognize the sacrifice on 9/11, but more importantly, it's fitting to congratulate Grant County on its forming of this Yellow Ribbon Committee. And I'm truly excited to be back here. I spent a lot of years coming to Grant County when one of my best friends was your county engineer, a guy by the name of Buck Buxton. And Buck was a great friend of mine and was a great mentor of mine and really taught me how to act like an officer. So I really appreciate that. And it's my honor to have the opportunity to recognize you as a Yellow Ribbon County. Today you become the 26th county to get this accolade and achieve this high standard set by your Yellow Ribbon Committee. The Yellow Ribbon County program requires your county to identify all the military-connected employees and residents in the county. It requires you to enhance awareness of military-specific issues and synchronize support efforts throughout the county and communities within your county. And at a county level, that's a tough job to do. We, recognize 3-4 different mayors. We're bringing the support of multiple small communities together to gain this awareness and to gain this plan that's gonna make the lives of not only your veterans and your serving military members, but also your law enforcement and first responders and fire veterans. You created a steering committee to methodically look at every area throughout your county and collect the best practices of existing military support efforts. Your team has identified improvement areas and partnerships to create over and above the military. support commitments throughout the county. I would like to also recognize the 3 people who took the lead in this effort. First, retired Colonel Rob Larson, your veteran service officer. I can't think of a better individual to lead your county and its veterans towards their benefits. Sue Colbyte and Sheriff Mark Haber were also very important in making this happen. So please do that. Thank you all for your leadership and having set that high standard for other counties in Minnesota will follow your lead. This commitment to excellence has led your steering committee to create a comprehensive action plan that will impact the military-connected employees across Grant County and in your local communities. I'm truly impressed with your action plan commitments that I know will make a difference in this county and beyond. I especially appreciate your willingness to develop emergency resources and guides and training events to assist veterans and military families in crisis. The Minnesota National Guard also appreciates your partnership to recruit and hire skilled veteran leaders within your county. Our service members have proven all over Minnesota how valuable their military experience can be to your organization. I would tell you that we appreciate your military service members that have come out of this county to support the military. We continually show the world that the Minnesota leads the world in work ethic and values, and those are big things in our military. And that comes from the kind of background that you provided to the community. I want you to know how important these efforts are. Military training and deployment requirements continue to increase for your Guard and Reserve. This summer, the Minnesota National Guard saw more than 2,500 soldiers depart for federal missions. Right now, your battery out of Alexandria is training in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and they are preparing to go to Afghanistan and Iraq, where they'll continue to support and defend their bases from attack. This has been a continual process for us since 2001. And 9/11, that changed the style and the character of your Minnesota National Guard. We really became part of the total Army, and we have created a battle rhythm of deployments about every 4 to 5 years for every unit in the state. And so that's why it's so critical for communities to come together and try to figure out how to lend that support back to those veterans as they come back to Grant County and other counties. This spring you saw us call up over nearly 7,000 of our soldiers to support the civil unrest in Minneapolis, and your committee serves as that link with those military families to rely on while their service members are away, and we need your support now more than ever. I commend this organization and all the dedicated members of your steering committee. You are leading the way for how other counties can create an environment that supports, honors, and recognizes the value of military service. On behalf of more than 13,000 members of the Minnesota National Guard, thanks to everyone for your dedication to those who serve our nation and for your passion for supporting service members, veterans, and their families, as well as law enforcement, fire, and EMS. Congratulations on this well-deserved recognition. I look forward to our continued partnership as you join other Minnesota Yellow Ribbon networks to create and share your best practices for military support in Minnesota and throughout the nation. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you, General Cruz, for sharing your important message with us today. Good luck to you and your soldiers as they meet today's challenges across the world. And thanks for being a great mentor to me. Now, ladies and gentlemen, many of you are aware, we learned yesterday that Governor Walz was unable to make our event here today. He planned on it, then he called a special session, and so he's working hard today. But he did send a letter, and I'm going to read you a letter from Honorable Governor Tim Walz. dated yesterday. Dear Grant County, congratulations on your formal designation as a Beyond Yellow Ribbon County. I apologize, my schedule prohibited me from attending the ceremony. Minnesota's Beyond Yellow Ribbon program is praised nationally for our synchronization of effort in support of service members, veterans, and military families. I commend Grant County for your dedication to ensuring that the entire county supports your military-connected heroes and heroes. The Grant County Yellow Ribbon Steering Committee has made over and above commitments to continue to show appreciation and support for those who have served and continue to serve our country. Your county stands as an example for how Minnesotans work together to honor our military members and law enforcement, fire and rescue, and emergency medical services, as well as their families. I am proud to officially proclaim you as a Yellow Ribbon County, and I thank you for your dedication and support. Congratulations on this much-served proclamation. Signed, Governor Walz. That's nice. Thank you. Additionally, we invited our state reps, and we have one here today, who is a hero too, I'm told, serving as a EMT for how many years?
25 years.
For 25 years, our representative, Jeff Backer. He's going to say a few words. Jeff?
Two things before I do my speech. Right now, I am on the House floor, remotely, okay? Pretty soon, we're going to come up to a vote. So if you hear me in the background that says Backer, yes, I'm voting on a bill on the House floor. The reason we're able to do this is our guidelines right now only allow so many people on the House floor, and it's my perspective, why do I drive down to St. Paul, sit in my office, and listen on the phone anyway? So just so you want to understand, if you hear me say Backer, yes, you know why. I have served as an EMT, hats off to EMTs across the county. We, and fire, and military, and law enforcement, we get up at 2 in the morning and we're out there to help lives. But before I do my speech, I want to, I know the greatest sacrifice that anybody can do is their lives to your country. And I do want to do a reach out to the Andersons. I've never gone through losing a family member in any type of situation like that. And my great respect for what you guys have gone through, and hats off to the loss of your sons. I mean, that's the greatest sacrifice that anybody can make in our country. So, my sympathy to you guys. On September 11th, 2001, America was changed forever. Evil visited our shores that day, and we were not the same. We really pulled together as a nation. While we take time to remember the lives that we lost that 19 years ago that day, we must also take time to remember those who answered the call of duty that day, and in the days and years to follow that. These men and women continue to carry on the legacy that these brave law enforcement officers, firefighters, EMS did that day, climbing up the skyscrapers, and what we do as EMS, firefighter, law enforcement every day for everybody. Americans have been meeting like this since September 11th. And since that fateful day, we have seen people stand up in protecting people. And guys, I have to vote. Back or aye? Okay, back or aye? Good. Okay, guys. You can't plan that stuff, folks. You just can't. I'm sitting here all the time waiting, and so you can't plan that. So today we remember the lives that have been lost in 9/11, and we want to thank the families who have sacrifice so much. If it's fellow colleagues at EMS and fire day and night when they get called, or the military that has sacrificed their lives, and I know law enforcement, what they do. There's been times that as an EMT, I'm always glad to see them, okay? But when the scene is not safe, I'm really glad. I would let Mark go in first, okay? No problem with this, definitely. But it is great to see what you guys did here in Grant County. I know it's a lot of volunteer effort. I know Sue put a lot of time in, and so many other people that I want to say hats off, and thank you for allowing me to speak today.
Curious what we were loading on there. Thank you. No, that's okay. We appreciate your nice comments. Rachel Johnson is the Yellow Ribbon. Okay, we have one more letter. Senator Tory Westrom.
Who would not forgive me if I didn't read his letter. Greetings, everyone. I regret I was not able to join you for Heroes Day in person because of the special session that was called by the governor. It is a great honor to represent you in the Minnesota State Senate. How appropriate on this day we somberly reflect and remember the attack of September 11th and all those who tragically lost their lives from an attack on our country, and all the police and fire and emergency workers who lost their lives or were injured doing their job protecting us. I want to commend the Beyond the Yellow Ribbon Committee and all of you that have contributed to this special proclamation for Grant County. There has been a lot of hard work by so many to help our veterans, their families, and our local first responders. This is a wonderful way for us in our local communities to be a helping hand to our neighbors and friends when they are in need. They've stepped up to the call of duty for those in need and defended our liberties and freedoms in this country. For that, I congratulate Grant County and join you in this rally to support the public servants in our midst that provide safety and security to our neighbors. It's even more special to think about your vision to include both veterans and first responders, and for being the first county in our state to do this. Especially in the year 2020, the COVID-19 virus and recent riots, movements that have called to defund and defranchise our police and the first responders makes this proclamation ceremony even more special and exciting for our rural county. In closing, as the famous song lyrics go, all gave some and some gave all. It is in that spirit I thank you for the leadership and compassion shown to our veterans and first responders by Grant County becoming another Beyond the Yellow Ribbon County. God bless our country, our state, and may God bless America. Senator Tory Westrom.
Okay, now it's my pleasure to introduce Rachel Johnson. Rachel Johnson, she is the Yellow Ribbon Outreach Coordinator for the Department of Military Affairs for the National Guard Family Programs with the state of Minnesota. She oversees the Beyond the Yellow Ribbon Community Program, along with developing, advocating, and supporting all 97 Yellow Ribbon networks throughout the state. The Yellow Ribbon Program provides support and bridges gaps with services for veterans, prior and current service members and their families. Rachel is a military spouse herself, with extensive experience in education with community capacity building strategies, relationship development across multiple sectors, strategic planning, communication, grant coordination, and management, legislative processes, implementation strategies, and development, and leadership development. That's a lot. I call her Coach. She helped us through this process. She's a good coach. So with that, I'd like to welcome Rachel Johnson.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Sue and Mark, and the entire Grant County Beyond the Yellow Ribbon community. You guys have done a wonderful job. So it is my honor to recognize you guys today for your hard work over the past 2 years. You have worked diligently and have collaborated sectors throughout the county to meet all requirements in the state county Yellow Ribbon Action Plan. The county action plan requires them to ensure they are meeting several requirements in key areas throughout the county. They have and continue to meet all of these requirements to ensure all veterans, service members, first responders, and their families are being served within Grant County and the surrounding region. It is my great pleasure to present them with the following proclamation. The Yellow Ribbon Program pays tribute to those counties with an exceptional record of caring, commitment, and compassion for service members, veterans, and their families through various programs and public works. It is this commitment to carry with Grant County will serve with honor and distinction as the Yellow Ribbon County. General Cruz, will you please step forward to hand over the proclamation to Grant County? Sue, Rob, and Commissioners. And Mark. Sorry. Kind of windy. Sorry. It is our honor to present Grant County as a Yellow Ribbon community in the state of Minnesota.
Now a few words from our chairman, Sue Colby.
Thank you, Rob. It was my job, I think, here to kind of summarize things, how they've gone, how we've gotten here today, and certainly extend a lot of thank yous. It's been 2 years in the making. As the executive director of the Chamber of Commerce, I went to the Elbow Lake City Council to ask if I could look into making Elbow Lake a Yellow Ribbon community. And they asked first, what will it cost and do we have to do anything? And I said no and no. And they said, all right, go ahead, do whatever. I started asking folks that I knew were either military or family of military, just people that I was friends with. And I will say without exception, nobody said no to me. I went to Maya and had a conversation with him about what is the need in Grant County. I ran into P.K. Headstone at the grocery store on New Year's Eve. We started talking, and 2 hours later, he was on board and had lots of ideas about what we could do and how we could help. Sheriff Haberer had been elected, but not even sworn in yet, and said he would join us. And it just snowballed from there. Everybody kept saying, yes, I want to be part of this, and I want to help. This day wouldn't be possible without these team members from our steering committee. And some of the time we were unable to meet in person due to the COVID situation, so we have Zoom meetings and all the complications that arise from there, but we made it through and we're here today. I'd also like to thank Rachel Johnson from Camp Ripley for her advice and expertise. It was kind of funny when Bob called and said, I found somebody at Camp Ripley that will help us. I said, great. Somebody with a lot of experience in going through a lot of these and knows exactly what to do. And then she confessed we were her first Yellow Ribbon. But we made our way through together. Special thanks from me personally to our Executive Director and Grant County Veteran Service Officer, Rob Larson. When I called you to introduce myself, you didn't hesitate to take on the Yellow Ribbon process. You were the first to identify that we needed to make this countywide, and after meeting with Sheriff Haberer, we also needed to include the first responders, and now we've become the first Beyond the Yellow Ribbon group in the state of Minnesota to do so. We wouldn't be here today without your leadership and tirelessness. Lastly, and most importantly, I want to thank all of our heroes, both those who are here today and those within the county. On this day especially, on 9/11, it seems only fitting that we extend our admiration, gratitude, and yes, our love for all that you sacrificed and all that you have accomplished. For all of you who are the ones who run toward danger, you have our thanks.
Thank you, Chairman Kovic. Thank you to everyone who supported this effort today. From the steering committee, we are proud and humbled to be recognized as the Yellow Ribbon County and look forward to implementing our action plan to better serve the heroes and their families of Grant County. Please rise for the retiring of the colors. We have one more thing to do. You can continue to stand or you can sit back down. All right, I'll turn it back over to Sue.
Could I have the Cloak of Valor ladies that would be presenting come down? Anyone? Oh, you're the time. They will describe for you what the Cloak of Valor program is, but what we wanted to do today is kind of conclude our program in presenting this to someone we think is part of our team and somebody very special.
I'll start out by thanking you for letting us come today. We are a group from Fergus Falls, and we represent a national group called Cloak of Valor. It is a foundation that was started in 2003 by citizens that wanted to honor our vets. The mission of Cloak of Valor is to cover service members and veterans touched by war with comforting and healing Cloak of Valor. Today we have this honor to award a quilt to a young man. Anyone in the service or that has done sports or anything realizes that when you do something outstanding, you are awarded maybe a medal. The military gets medals that are pinned on them by usually a supervisor, someone standing over them. An exemplary action, an accomplishment that not everyone does. This quilt today represents a cloth quilt. It is going to be awarded as a thank you from us all, a nation. Not necessarily the military itself, but the people that have received the benefits of his sacrifice, his family's sacrifice. Unless you've been a family that's gone through it, we can only imagine the worry, the pride, and just the constant thoughts of your son or daughter as they are defending our country. Today we would like to award this quilt to Trevor Beaton. He spent 23 years in the service, and he has been nominated for a Quilt of Valor. We have a card that will be going with it, and I'd like to read that to all of you. It says, "Dear brave soldier, as a small community in west central Minnesota, we want you to know how much we appreciate your service and sacrifice. Your quilt was handmade by mothers, sisters, wives, and friends, much like those who left to serve your country and defend its ideals. We are truly grateful, and it is our hope that this quilt will comfort you." Trevor would come down. We'd like to award this quilt to you. These soldiers are the bravest bunch and the most humble bunch in the world.
Thank you, congratulations. Hopefully go back and wrap that around your wife too, and help keep her warm. Okay, we'll do this again. Please rise for the retiring the colors. Retire the colors. Thank you everybody for joining us here today. Hopefully you enjoyed today's program. Thank you for your service and your sacrifices. Thank you committee members for being a part of our team. It's our first year, it's our first event. Hopefully next September 11th we'll be back and we'll be able to improve a little bit on this. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.